Oh, Wildman! Wildman!
Hola, Papi!
Hey! How you doing?
How art thou?
How art thou?
So, have you ever had somebody send you a wall of text?
Oh, yeah.
And what I mean by that is like 5 paragraphs of just words, and it's just like, oh, this is just way too long. I can't read this.
Yeah, not only just text, but if you read something online and it just goes on and on and on, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, I can't read all of this.
Yeah, I know there was a story about a pop superstar, Chappelle Roan, and there was like 7 paragraphs talking about some nefarious thing she did. And I said, basically, this is just too long. I can't read this.
Yeah.
And I asked, can somebody give me in a sentence or two a sensationalistic, quick headline of what actually happened? And somebody said, there was a child. She was mean to a child. And that was the long and short of it. Maybe there was more to the story. Maybe Chappelle Roan isn't mean to children. But sometimes a sentence or two, sometimes brevity makes things easier to digest, makes things easier to read. And, I think a case in point, Mom. She'll send me paragraphs, often, sometimes nice, sometimes critical, and I'll just say to myself, where do I even begin responding to this? You know what I mean? This is way too long.
But you do this, well, you do the same thing at times too, right? I mean, you send a lot of text messages that, you can't even. I mean, it's just too much to even absorb.
Yeah, and that's a very fair point. Obviously I do the same things. I'll send walls of text to you, Mom, pretty much everybody on my phone book. And a lot of people are probably saying when they're seeing my walls of text, this is way too long. I'm not going to read this.
And you drive people away too. I mean,
yeah, so which is why sometimes a sensationalistic headline, brevity, a sentence or two. And I know sometimes when I take these gigantic walls of text where I speak for paragraphs, and I shorten them into a 4-panel artwork, maybe like 4 sentences or less. It's really a lot more appealing to the eye, and people get into it and they hear your point. Of
course.
Where if you elaborate for 7 paragraphs saying the same thing in a really highly detailed way, people lose interest and they say to themselves, this is way too long, I didn't read, I don't care to read. And
it's our society too. I mean, our society, we want everything so quick. We want everything done immediately. The 3-minute egg is now like the 2-minute egg, and the microwave. Cooking rice for 10 minutes, it's not good enough anymore. It's got to be 1 minute. Cooking of the rice, and that's just 2 examples of. We've just become a society that we want instantaneous.
I know when it comes to Chappelle Roan, for example, when you get the sensationalistic sentence or two that says she's mean to children.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to a pop superstar, it's easy to paint her with the narrative without digging into the 7 paragraphs because frankly, I don't care enough about her to do much, a lot of digging. If this was something very serious that affected my life or the world in some way, maybe I would read the 7 paragraphs and really educate myself.
Yep.
Because I want the truth regarding it.
But like you said, most of the 7 paragraphs, you can condense it down into 1 paragraph or maybe 2, and all the other is just the writer trying to.
I know Opie and Anthony joked, many years ago, which is the show Jim Norton comes from. All we do sometimes is just read the headline. And we just pretend like we know the story based on the headline, like the opening sentence in a paper, Mm-hmm. We read the headline and we just pretend like we know the whole story without actually digging deeper.
Yeah.
And that is what it is.